one. Hello and welcome back to the Have We Made It Yet podcast. My name is Josh Yang. I'm comedian Josh Yang.
And I'm the actor, Lucas Ng.
The actor. So I was about to make the same joke that I made last week, where Sir John Ng, the actor Sir John Ng. But yes, welcome back to another episode of Have We Made It Yet? The podcast where we talk about the process of making it, and both of Lucas and I are starting out pretty early, so usually I gotta ask Lucas, have you made it yet?
No, I have not. But again, I started my online acting class, and it's going swimmingly.
Swimmingly? Oh,
Yeah.
So they teach you how to act while swimming.
You know, we're training for a Lifetime movie about water polo players. So, you know, I got to get my summer bod ASAP.
Oh yeah. You got to go for those underwater shots of because polo is pretty it's pretty brutal under the surface, right?
There's yanking on your feet. They're drowning you the whole time.
Yeah, you're scratching and fucking people up. But nice. Yeah, that's sounds like a good acting class.
Mr. Josh Yang.
Oh, yes.
Have you made it yet?
I have not made it yet, but I have created a separate project that the first episode. Yeah, because the first episode I finally managed to make it come out last night. The long anticipated Sleep with Josh podcast. It's the podcast where you sleep with Josh. Basically, I will be reading a lot of random literary type of pieces of literature in my monotone voice as like a sleep aid. And it's not your usual stuff, because a lot of those type of podcasts, they do like public domain stories, or, things that, public domain stories, or like they ramble on themselves to help people like go to sleep. Whereas I'm going to be reading laws, the dictionary, different manuals, terms of services. I'm excited about that one. I think I'll start with Facebook, because nobody reads the terms of services for anything. So I feel like if I read that, people will not pay attention. So that's the point. So so we'll give that a try. First episode's out. I'm going to start putting out some more, but that's something else. Maybe I'll be able to enter that lucrative sleep assistant podcasts.
You are living and breathing Ambien, Josh.
Market. Yes, I am. But yeah, that's not making it, but I'm making my own little fan base of people who think I'm boring. So
I love it.
Yes, but today we do have a very special guest on, Lucas. I believe you'll be able to introduce her.
My God. For episode 15, we have... My God. Okay. So for the YouTube watchers, you actually already see her name there. But for some backstory with this next guest. All right. So her and I, we first met in September of 2018 at a mutual friend's wedding. I remember we all met each other at what was a pre-wedding house party, in which I knew no one aside from the couple that were getting married there. She was incredibly welcoming as a stranger walking in, and she just says, "Hey, come play Heads Up with us." You know that game?
Oh yeah.
The Generous made it really popular. Then I'm not sure if we traded contact information, but at least I remember her enough that she was incredibly memorable. Fast forward to the summer of 2019, I began my acting journey, and also the start of this idea of this podcast here.
Right.
And before then, her and we had chatted, and I found out she's an incredibly, amazingly talented actor also. In a lot of ways, I look up to her. She's one of the first people I message when I have any acting questions,
right,
when I bomb an audition, or if I have any successes and I want to share. All in all, I kind of like to call her my personal mentor in this field right there.
Yeah.
But more recently, right now, she's an incredibly gifted actor, cinematographer, and also photographer too. You might have also seen her in the TV series Get Shorty as the character of Thea, and also as Alyssa Kane in the TV movie The Past Never Dies. But now, like literally right now,
Right now.
Right after watching this episode.
You could do it technically, okay, right now as of a week ago, because this episode will come out a week later. But yeah,
True.
right now, a week ago right now.
A week ago right now. You can see her as Yang on the hit Amazon Prime show Upload.
That's
That's
me?
streaming.
Because my last name's Yang.
Oh man, you.
That's great.
That's great. This show was named after you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see her as Yang on the Amazon Prime show Upload. That's streaming right now.
Perfect.
Let's welcome Phoebe Miu on the show.
Woo! Woo!
Hello, guys.
There we go. Welcome.
Hi. I'm here.
Awesome. With any guest that we have on here, Miss Phoebe Miu, have you made it yet?
Absolutely not. I have made it, guys. I've made it from my living room back onto the floor in my room. And that's a huge accomplishment for this quarantine right now.
Fair.
But no, absolutely not. I have not made it yet at all.
When you first set out on this journey, what was your interpretation of making it?
I think, well, when I first set off on the journey, I don't think that I had any particular like long-term goal in mind. Like everything was like one accomplishment after the other. Like when I first set off, I was like, okay, my goal is to book a job. Like all I want is to book any job. Mm-hmm. And then once I started working, luckily, then it became, I want to book this kind of job. I want to book this kind of job. And I feel like that's just going to keep going. Like that's just going to keep snowballing. And so you're never going to really feel like you've made it, even when and if you're, way ahead of the game than most people.
Right. How did you feel then about getting a role on the show Upload that's on Amazon Prime? That seems like because Amazon Prime feels like it's a bigger name studio. It seems like it's gonna get a bigger reach. Maybe it's something that does it feel like you're making it more?
No, I mean, I'm really thankful for the opportunity to have been on it, and I love that it got renewed. So who knows what could happen, but just the fact that I got to be a part of it, and I got to meet one of my, I guess a writer that I really look up to, Greg Daniels, who wrote The Office. I'm obsessed with The Office. I've seen the whole series at least 3 times now, and I just keep cycling through episodes, and I'll just watch them before I sleep. But what I'm saying is I'm really thankful for that opportunity. So, and the thing is when I first booked it, I didn't know where it was going to go.
Oh, right.
At all. Because it was just, Fair. It was, that was all, a lot of stuff was concealed. We didn't really get to, when I first booked it, all I had read was the pilot, and I was in the last episode, so I had no idea what was going to happen. And I honestly didn't know all that much about the show when I auditioned for it, because I was on the road and I taped it within 20 minutes of getting the audition.
Whoa.
Because of the time difference and everything. I was in Hong Kong, and actually this is a funny story. So I was in Hong Kong, and I had just landed, I think, but in Hong Kong, morning there is nighttime here. It's 9 p.m. 7 a.m. in Hong Kong is 10 p.m. Vancouver.
Yeah,
right.
15 hours.
Or no, maybe anyway, it's a 15-hour difference. Night and day. So I arrived there, and the moment I arrived, I opened up my inbox, and it's you have a take due at whatever time, and I pretty much only had 2 hours to get it done.
Ooh.
And so I was shit, what are we allowed to swear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Swear as much as you
want.
I was
shit, what do I do? I'm on the road. And I go back home to like my family home, and my dad's there. But obviously, like my dad doesn't speak English fluently, so it's hard to read with him. And I'm like, Dad, I really need help with this tape, but like we don't have a setup. He's like, okay, well, stand in front of your closet and I'll just like hold my phone. Wow. And then I said, what about a reader? And I was like, oh, I know, I'm gonna FaceTime my friend Izzy. So I FaceTimed my friend, but like no one, like my dad didn't have hands to hold her up, so it was just like the phone on the ground and her voice reading back to me, and my dad holding the phone. And because I had no time, I actually didn't have much context as to what we were, like where we were. So I just assumed that we were in an office because like I knew it was grade day. So I was just like, okay, in my mind, we're in an office and I'm talking to someone like who's new here. And we're like hazing this guy. So we just went with it. And then I did the thing, she did the read. And then my dad looks at it and he's like, oh, I think it turned out well. And I was like, oh, cool. So like, what do you think? Do we need to do it again? And he was like, no, it was actually amazing. And I was like, really? You think so? And he was like, no, it was really, really good. It was so stable. I didn't shake at all. It looked like it was on a tripod. I was like, Dad, I get that. But like, what about me? Like, I forgot this tape was about you. Anyway, so to this day, he still takes credit for me booking Upload thanks to his impeccable camera skills.
Nice. Unshakable hand.
Yeah. But no. So I was really excited when I booked it. Yeah.
That's amazing. Cool. Speaking on the quarantine though, like of course the highs of an actor are very high. The lows can also be low, especially during this time too. What have you been doing to progress your craft during this quarantine?
So yeah, like the contrast between right now, like what we're doing now compared to what we were doing before,
I know,
is so big that my first couple weeks in quarantine were really, really tough.
Oh no.
Like I was just going through, like you said, ups and downs. Like it was just a lot of anxiety and like panic attacks. And because my parents are with me right now, like I get really worried for them. So the first couple of weeks was just like really my body was like rejecting being still. I also have a problem with being still. Like I'm constantly on the move. So before the quarantine, I was like, I had things, I literally planned my days out to the hour, like to the minute. Like I would finish one thing and then go on to the next. I'd have a meeting. I'd go to meet someone for coffee and then go home and do a tape or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think like we take those times for granted because like without even thinking, there are ways in our days for us to practice our crafts constantly, like getting auditions and everything. Those are just constantly keeping your gears moving. And I was going to class like once or twice a week. But yeah, as soon as we got into the quarantine, I was like, shit, what now? And so I kind of had to like find a different way to stay creative and like keep that part of my brain moving. Just because I knew like, okay, right now I can't, like there aren't really many auditions going around. And like I can't really act with someone and like feel people and like, you know, so that part was gone. So like slowly I started listening to more and more podcasts. I've always been addicted to podcasts, like listening to actor interviews. Like there's one, I think I told you about this off camera with Sam Jones. I'm in love with that podcast. So I pretty much listened to every single person on that thing, which is a shame because when we started quarantine, I kind of just started re-listening. And then Awards Chatter's another good one. And then I would watch Actors on Actors on YouTube. And actor roundtable conversations. I learned so much from watching these people because it's like people that are that are established and like that everybody looks up to, and that kind of struggle with the same anxieties. And so like I was saying before, it's like I think no matter where you are in your career, you're constantly going to be reaching for more. Like, so I don't think you're ever going to really feel like you made it. Unless you're Will Smith and you have a home and you can run away from home and still be at home. Like there's a whole meme thing about, anyway. Yeah, so I've been doing that and like watching movies, reading plays, just trying to keep the gears moving and like stay inspired.
No, I 100% agree with the like watching the podcasts of other actors talking to other actors.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, for me, because I'm like into comedy, the comedy scene in Toronto has been like essentially decimated. So all the different like clubs are closed down. A lot of comedians, like I had a couple shows that were planned for later in April, and then when later in March, actually, that you know, right before everything really locked down and everybody closed up, and then those were canceled perpetually. There was going to be like a bigger competition in Toronto called the Comedy Brawl that I was looking forward to doing, but I'm pretty sure that's canceled because I haven't heard anything about it. But
oh, shame!
Not only that, though, all the small bars and like dive bars throughout the city that usually
where you would drive and like do your performances and like test out your material.
Yeah, so all those different stage times and different bars that usually have those like shows weekly, even if it's like to 5 people, that's still technically a spot. So even those are getting shut down. This one diner called 120 Diner in Toronto that does like multiple shows a week, I found out they closed a couple weeks ago. So in that sense, like those bar settings, who knows how that's going to come back in Toronto. But
that's such a shame.
Yeah, and similarly, there are a lot of comedian podcasts out there as well that I've been listening to, that it is very interesting to see them talk about their experiences with their friends, because they usually have their friends that go back to when they started. Whitney Cummings has a great one called Good For You, where she's had a lot of like really experienced comics on there. They talk about their times coming up, how they feel about coronavirus and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a lot
of anxiety.
It is.
Like not like the uncertainty of what our jobs are gonna look like, what our passions are gonna look like after all this blows over.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that, though, Josh, because like you were saying.
Oh no, yeah, just on also Josh's point too. Like when we can go back to our crafts, it's going to look completely different. Like the bars that you will be showcasing at, Josh, they're going to be half empty, and that will be at full capacity already.
Yeah, even if they could be at full capacity, probably ideally won't, because you'll want to distance people somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even just thinking about like my my anxieties about being in crowded places now. I'm like, I, as much as I would love to go to a comedy show, would I really go and risk it and stand amongst the crowd? Like it's going to take everybody a different amount of time, like just at everybody's own paces to get back to where we were before, if ever. But it's a shame for artists like yourself that, you know, really need that like person to person audience interaction to kind of move forward in their craft. But then again, like it's great that we have kind of platforms like this.
Like
where, you know, you could continue kind of doing the same in the same kind of, in a similar setting, I suppose.
Let's start back from the very, very beginning to before you even went into acting. Like I know you went to UBC and everything like that for a completely different major than what you're currently doing right now. But like, what hobbies or crafts did you have that first steered you into wanting to go into acting?
I think I really liked watching movies. And I like always dabbled in acting. I like in high school, I loved acting. I loved theater. I did IB theater. I did a couple of the school plays, and I just, I loved that part, but I never really considered it as like a career path that was feasible, you know, just because realistically you're like, oh, you know, it's just such a big pool of people fighting for the same thing, and it's just like a funnel.
Yeah.
It's a really tight funnel. And so I always kind of like just thought of it as a hobby. And at UBC, same thing. I was always into sports more, or not more, but it was just like the thing that was more accessible. So I played basketball from all the way from high school through university. I mean, I wasn't varsity or anything, but like I played all the time. Like I would play almost every day. And yeah, I just did, college girl things, like college people things, like hang out with your friends and drink beer after class and go to Rec Beach. Like, I don't think I thought that far ahead. And like, I didn't want to let myself, I don't know. It was a part of me was, I didn't want to like follow in my parents are actors too. And I never wanted to do the same thing as them. I didn't want people to think I was copying them or whatever. It was my ego getting in the way the whole time. But
interesting.
Yeah. So back then I just loved watching movies. I loved going to like UBC improv, and I did nice. Like a little bit of improv, but honestly, like that didn't even count. It was such a long time ago, and it was so short for such a short time. But I think that was kind of what reignited the desire to do it more.
Nice.
Was there like a moment then during that period of time when you kind of clicked in your head that you wanted to pay more attention to it? You wanted to take the next step towards like really going 100% into it as your career?
Yeah, I think it happened twice. Like once propelled me into acting, and that was like after I graduated from UBC. I worked in marketing for about 8 months, and it was for like a big company. It wasn't like a marketing firm, but it was for like a big casino resort company.
Yeah.
And so I did their marketing, and I hated my life. Like I was so depressed, and I found myself like, I don't belong in an office at all. And people don't like me in offices. I don't thrive in them. I don't do good work in them. I sat in my cubicle watching Vampire Diaries every day. Sorry, Nancy. But like that was my life for 8 months, and I hated it so much, and I just felt like so trapped in this box. And I remember every day at 4:59 I'd be ready to go.
Yeah.
And then come 5 o'clock I'd drive straight for the beach, and then I'd just sit there.
Interesting.
And breathe. It was so dramatic. So maybe it was like it was meant to happen. But yeah, so I would do that, and then eventually one day I was like, my contract was coming up, and I was just like, there's, this pushed me to the furthest edge of like running from what I actually wanted to do. And I was finally like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna do it. So I just applied for film school, and then and then I kind of like, I did the whole film school thing for like, it was a quick course that like kind of introduced me into it.
Yeah.
And then I got an agent. I got really lucky, like right off the bat, got an agent, started training with a great coach that I've now been with for, oh my God, like 5 years, coming on 5 years. And she's like, I owe a lot to her. But when I first started training with her, I don't think I was still like 100% in.
Right.
And then I think 2 years later, like something just clicked. And I was like, I need to throw my whole being into this.
Interesting. Did you get a little taste of success, and you were like, oh, this could actually get the ball rolling? Or like, I feel like, this could be, the feasibility of it feels like it's more there.
No, it's so crazy because like I didn't, like nothing happened for me until I threw my whole being in there. Because I
Interesting.
think like it's hard to I think for the whole, like for the first 2 years I was constantly still looking for a backup plan.
Right.
Like I was still I was trying to grow my acting career but also grow my photography career. And I was trying to do both. And I'm not saying that you can't, and some people are so good at managing both. Like they're amazing at it and they're absolute rock stars at both careers. But for me, for some reason my heart could only be like kind of in one place, and I felt like I was giving 50% to one thing, I was only giving 50% to another, and it just wasn't fair. So yeah, when I finally like threw myself in, then I started to work.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's like when you know you don't have insurance.
Yeah.
That's when you really just go for it.
That's true. I mean, the Spanish burned their boats when they sailed to North America. So Cortez, Cortez did that. So it's like, fuck it, we're gonna go genocide these people because we can't go home. How else are you guys gonna survive?
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta do that.
No, that is a
throw
very
yourself in the deep end.
no doubt. Like that's a very similar theme about having an existence that you just absolutely hate, and you need to realize that out of that hatred for that past life, you need to grow something new. And I had a similar thing where I had a job that I hated, but it made you really realize that it did not have to be this way, and that you could change your path if you're willing to throw yourself out there. So
exactly. So I admire, like, and I have a lot of respect for people that are able to do that, because it takes a long time. And for me, it took so long. Like some people, they just, it clicks and they're like, okay, bam.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Something interesting you mentioned though, because like you worked in an office for 8 months and you hated it. Since you like The Office, the TV show, which character did you feel like you connected with then?
Nice.
Like based on your experience.
That is so funny. I haven't really thought about it. I think in terms of like, oh God. Well, in terms of what actually happened, the thing is, in The Office, everybody just stays there. Like Pam, I was going to say Pam, because then she discovered art. She moved to New York for a bit, which was amazing. And then she came back. Like she just came back. So I don't want to like jinx it and say that I'm Pam. Definitely not. I don't think I'm Jen either. I don't think I like went away and then like had a baby and then like came back a hippie.
Yeah.
Ryan's a douche. Sometimes I feel like I'm Kelly.
Oh, Kelly Kapoor. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's so funny, but sometimes I'll feel like I'm a little bit Kelly. Just because she just like she's like, are you guys hanging out without me? She's just like got this, I feel like she's constantly got this sense of FOMO, like this unshakable FOMO, and that's kind of how I feel about like people I love and like life. And just opportunity costs constantly in my head.
Right. Right.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm her. Sometimes I feel like I'm maybe a Michael.
A little bit of Michael. Everybody's a little bit of Michael. Everybody's a little.
I feel like everybody's a little bit of each. Like when you watch these shows, these people essentially, like especially Friends. Like when I think of like my sense of humor and the way I talk and like and then when I think about which character I am, I feel like there's like a bit of everyone in me.
Yeah.
And it's like a chicken or the egg situation, right? Like, like, do they model these people out of like after these characters after just little bits of everybody, or do they mold you?
Right. Well, I
I
mean,
don't know.
I agree.
Power of television.
Absolutely. For me, 100%, it was Friends. I grew up watching them, and I've kind of mentioned this before, but like I always loved Chandler because I thought he was the smartest one, and like he had the funniest jokes in my mind.
Yeah.
So I eventually, like over time, didn't realize it happening, but then I developed a form of sarcasm based off of Chandler in the way I talk and my sense of humor. That like
100%. Yeah.
that just now I don't know who I would be if I didn't watch Friends when I was like between 10 to 13 that period of time. But
No, they shaped us. They shaped our culture, and
yeah,
that's why they're the greatest show on television ever. Like so a couple years back, I like did another cycle of Friends. I do this every year, like along with The Office. I kind of like just alternate. But with Friends, I like started another cycle, and then I started the pilot. And I don't know why it was this year that it clicked for me that the Friend Zone, they were talking about the Friend Zone in 1994.
right.
What?
Yeah. I think they
So the Friend Zone
episodes.
isn't like a concept of like the 21st century. Like it was.
It's way ahead of the time.
Way ahead, or they molded the times. Like they are they were the times.
Right. It was like it was happening during the society at the time, and then they were making jokes
and then they
about
made
it,
us.
and then
and then they made these brains that we have.
Was Greg Daniels also the show creator of that show? Of Friends?
Friends? No, it was some other people.
Oh, Kaufman,
Crane.
Yeah.
Kaufman and Crane.
David Crane. Yeah, I think it's David Crane.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mine would be Kevin though, from The Office.
Kevin.
Like small victories. That's what I go for every day.
Right.
Kevin. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like based on my voice, it'd probably be Toby. I don't know.
True.
I don't know if on like sensibility or humor, it probably would be somebody else. Maybe Dwight. Maybe I'm not gonna lie. Maybe the jokes that Dwight did were just so eclectic and a little weird. It's like kind of it's I like that sensibility. But
yes. But also just like staying true to yourself. You know, like really, he's just so true to himself, living his best life.
Yeah, but in terms of
about no fucks about what everybody else thinks about Beats, like
yeah.
Oh my God. You mentioned briefly about like your first auditions and also getting an agent and everything like that. But like when you're preparing for roles and auditions, what's your process? And do you have any like pre-audition rituals that you do to get yourself ready for the audition?
That's a good question. I think it really changes. Like the pre-audition stuff for me, picking out an outfit makes a whole world of difference. And it really depends on the audition, because sometimes like depending on the character, I'll take a different approach towards the audition, and depending on the kind of the context that we're given and how much information we're given. Like some things, some projects come with the script of the pilot, right? And then like I'll read as much of the pilot as I can, or I'll read the whole pilot and then research as much of the show as I can, or the project. And then I'll look up the directors, the producers, see if I recognize anyone, look up stuff that they've done, and see if they're particularly stylistic, and if I need to, make any choices based off of that.
True.
And then, like there are some characters that you really have to do a ton of work on, and I'll write pages and journal or something, and then go over the who, what, why, where was I before, where am I going, blah blah blah. What are my relationships? And then there are others that you're just like, okay, what is my intent in this scene? What is like what tactics am I going to use, blah blah blah, like
Right,
it just
right.
depends.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say your outfit really informs your character, or would you say the other way around then?
That's a good question as well. You're asking very good questions.
Oh.
I think
Yeah.
it does inform the character for me. Like it helps me drop in, especially if it's a character that's nothing like me or something.
Mhm.
For example, even something as simple as, not simple, but something like playing a lawyer or something.
Mhm.
You're playing a lawyer, you get into your suit or like you wear nice trousers and maybe like Oxfords and a blazer, and a nice top. Like that's the furthest departure from what I would normally wear.
Okay.
So stepping into that outfit like really changes my physicality,
Mhm.
and it helps me feel more in the character than anything.
Nice.
Interesting. Actually, I had, as you guys were talking about, I was thinking of kind of this idea, because it's sometimes as acting, it's tough to get into the emotional mindset of certain emotions that maybe like you're not comfortable with some of the time. This is probably to both like Lucas and you, Phoebe. Is there? Do you find that is there an emotion when it comes to acting for you that is the toughest for you to get to?
Yeah, tons.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like being vulnerable and being like sad. I mean, those are the hardest things for most people. And I definitely also struggled with that. And sometimes I still do. It like really depends. And you really have to put in the work and like stay focused on your objectives and then allow those things to drive how you feel. But vulnerability, I think it's one of the things that I struggled with most starting out, because I mean, Lucas, you might be able to like, this might resonate with you as well, but culturally, you know, we're taught especially to harbor those feelings and like suppress them and not let them show. Everything's about, you know, putting on a good face.
Yeah.
And so when that's like so ingrained in you, it becomes your instinct to shut it down, even though you start feeling it, like it starts bubbling, like you shut it down. And sometimes that's not what is like required of you. Like if the page says, Phoebe, why are you crying? Yeah. Then you gotta cry. And even if you're so sad and normally Phoebe wouldn't cry, like, you gotta cry. So that was a major challenge. And I think also genuine happiness is really hard. Like genuine like laughter. Like really laughing is pretty hard. Sometimes even harder.
Interesting. Yeah. To your point, like vulnerability is an incredibly hard thing. I remember doing in class a monologue from the Breakfast Club one time, and it was about a boy that was
cigarettes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, cigarettes on the mentally disabled. Yeah, right. Yeah. And I was doing that monologue, and the teacher just said, "No, you're at a 7. No, you're at a 6 right now. You got to bring it up to a 10. Like, don't try to copy what the actor did, but like." You have to bring some emotional intensity into it.
You always got to bring it to, like, you always got to bring like a 10.
Yeah.
Like it's always got to be at a 10. Like how it comes out. I mean, you have to like that, like your character, whatever your character is, drives the direction of like where, like how it manifests. But like you always got to bring your A game. You always got to bring 10.
Yeah. And I just found it so hard to bring it up. I mean, maybe I could have brought it up at home, you know, in a safe, secluded place and everything. But when you're in class and the lights are on you, the camera's on you, your instructor's also looking at you to make sure you're doing it. It's a lot harder to actually be vulnerable at that moment when the eyes are actually on you. And yeah, to your point, it's incredibly difficult.
Interesting.
Scary, but I guess like it's good practice to do it in class, because when you're on set, I mean, sometimes even more eyes will be on you.
Exactly.
And you got to pretend they're not there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good thing we're in class.
I know. Isn't that the thing though? Like acting is all about trying to be, what's that word? Authentic, trying to be the most real human being you can in the most unreal, inauthentic setting, or artificial lights are on you. The whole camera crew is behind you.
Right.
It's just a really weird dichotomy.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
That's interesting. It's interesting also, like Phoebe, when you mentioned that a lot of Asian culture, when it comes to like putting on a face and making it seem like, you know, everything's fine. Essentially, that's also like a form of like socialized acting that I guess a lot of Asians have to
really is,
deal with. So I guess we were meant to play characters that just internalize emotions. So yeah.
full of subtleties. You can see it in the eyes, all the pain.
Just generations of cultural inner emotions that it's
cultural and like emotional repression.
Yeah, you're not showing it on the face, but you can feel it through the screen. Just all that.
That's why
pent up emotion.
True. That's why all the Hong Kong uncles in movies always have big bellies, because that's where they store up all the resentment and anger in
that's
them.
Where it all goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to generalize and say that it's also just Asian cultures, but I know a lot of Asian friends that come from families that kind of encourage that.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god,
for sure.
Just about like the last two questions before we go into our ending segment. What has the quarantine taught you about yourself?
That I'm gonna get really truthful and say, okay, this quarantine has taught me that I run from like I constantly, like when we get to work and lead our busy lives, I kind of use that as a great channel for me to run from stillness. And it's like running from, because when you're still, then all your anxieties, everything that's bugging you or not bugging you, or even things that are making you like really, really happy, those things come flooding in, and sometimes they can be very overwhelming.
Right.
And this quarantine obviously has made me sit my ass down and like let those things hit me, because I just had no choice. So I think that's like the biggest lesson that I've learned from this. Yeah.
Have you had a way of channeling all that, or at least filtering that overwhelming feeling? Have you found coping methods to help you with that?
Yeah. Awesome. Definitely. Like that's why, as I was like mentioning earlier, like the two routes that you could go down, like the wellness route or the alcoholism route. And I swear I teeter on the edge of both consistently in my like normal life. But when the quarantine started, I like threw myself down the wellness route, because I just wanted to feel good. Like I wasn't feeling very good, and I wanted to be like healthy, so, you know, in case anything. So I just worked out a ton. I did a ton of yoga, and like when the quarantine first started, I was doing a lot more meditating, and I should probably get back to that now.
Cool.
But those things really helped. So I've been keeping to those as part of like just having some kind of routine. Yeah. And then creative things.
Awesome. Keep on going there. We love it. Let's just go into word association. I think now's a good time for that.
Sure. Yeah. We're gonna try something a little different, add a little segment that we can play around with our guests moving forward. A little bit of word association. So pretty much Lucas will say 10 words, then I'll go and say 9 words just because I had 9. Anyways, not very specific. But he'll say a word,
Okay,
and
I'm
then
nervous.
and then the first word that comes to your mind, just go right on to it. Like don't second guess it, just go friggin' right into it, and we'll see what happens because this is our first time doing it, and we'll see if it's entertaining.
Let's go.
All right. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna go down the list. Okay, so go whenever. Okay, first one: accomplished.
Mission.
Money.
Problems.
Stress.
Also problems.
Goal.
Joy.
Door.
Okay.
Sorry, what?
Door.
Door. Open.
Drink.
Whiskey.
Fear.
Loathing.
God.
Sky. Buddha.
Sky Buddha.
Hero.
Villain.
Film.
Huh?
Film.
Movies.
Cool.
Wait, did you say loathing to fear?
Yeah, fear and
I
loathing.
don't know why
in Vegas.
fear and love.
No, but
Fear and loathing.
isn't that that's a film, isn't it? Fear and Loathing and something like.
And I haven't even seen it. I mean, like I've been meaning to see it.
I love the name dropping. I love
it. Interesting. I mean, those movie titles are like subconsciously put into us, or film titles. But okay.
Yeah.
We'll go with mine. First word. Family.
Parents.
Kumquat.
Wi-Fi. That's my Wi-Fi. That's the name of my Wi-Fi.
Whoa. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. Pineapple.
Oranges.
Technology.
Instagram.
Alone.
Sad.
Lights.
Camera. Action. Sports.
Okay, in retrospect, I probably should have saw that happening when I wrote those three words. That I don't know why I was hoping to get like lights and something else, and then okay, whatever. That was a fail on my part. Okay, and last thing.
That was so fun. Okay.
Oh, I still got one more. Last thing is.
Okay.
And the winner. Oh shoot, am I?
No,
am I
you're
still
good.
Okay?
You're good.
Froze for a second. Last thing is, and the winner is.
You.
I love it.
As in you, as in you, as in
you.
Me.
I don't know.
As in you. Okay.
Actually, I'm just looking at myself.
I'm
going.
Winner is you.
And the winner is you. All right, cool. We'll review. I gotta the lights, camera, action kind of backfired on me, but all right, fair enough.
That worked out well, though. I think we're just one mind now.
Yeah, I should have thought better. I mean, it's literally the thing actors are told to do. So probably should.
You know what? They don't even really say that. Like no one says.
Oh,
that.
Fair enough. Yeah,
on set, which is so weird. That but.
Yeah, it should just be quiet on set and action.
Yeah.
It shouldn't even.
They go like sound speeding.
Sound speeding. That's the word. Yeah.
Frame. All the things.
Mm-hmm.
And my brain's tuned out.
Cool. Well, so ends our first attempt at word association.
That was so fun.
Yeah.
We will do it again. We'll do it
again. Just the word association part, though.
For like a full 50 minutes. Go through the dictionary and ask them what they feel about every word.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Let's do it.
So this has been episode 15 then. 15. Give it up for Phoebe. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, also, I guess, is there anything you want to plug?
that I want to plug.
Promote.
Not much of a plugger. Drink La Croix, guys.
Whoa,
okay.
that's
Drink La Croix.
Anything
They're
but
great for
that.
you, and you know, it's like the closest thing to a vodka soda minus the vodka.
Hmm.
Oh.
I thought it's not a great plug.
It's
Just
like you're auditioning for La Croix right now.
I know.
I know it's not a good audition.
Where can people find you?
Yeah.
What are your social media handles? Where can people find you?
I am on Instagram at Betches. No, I'm kidding. I'm on Instagram at Phoebe Miu. I'm on Twitter, but I don't really tweet very much. Also Phoebe Miu. And I guess you'll find me here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We'll find Phoebe there.
At the
Yeah, and you'll learn a lot
Happily-
about me here.
Awesome.
Exactly. For me, at Josh Yang Comedy on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and also since it's just came out, you could search up Sleep with Josh podcast on Spotify and all these different platforms. Give it
Josh.
if you like what you hear, it's out there for you. So do that.
Awesome. And you can find me at Lucas John Ing on Instagram and on Facebook too. All right, episode 15 then. And for all our viewers and listeners, watch Upload on Amazon Prime right now. And look up for Phoebe right here.
Yes. Look out
Thanks,
for her.
guys.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
This has been fun.
Awesome. Thank you. And please like and subscribe our YouTube channel that we have. And also follow us on Spotify.
Subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Subscribe.
Everybody. Listen to me.
Yeah.
See you all later.
Great. All right.
Hey,
have a good
thanks,
quarantine.
guys.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy quarantine. Take care.